Thank you, everybody, for being here. And I think I have all my members that are here for today. So we have Councilmember Hancock. We're going to go ahead and start the meeting. We have no consent items. Do you approve the minutes from April 18th? Okay, we'll go ahead and I approve. Who is speaking?
I approve, and Councilmember Jurinsky's there too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry, Jurinsky. I was just saying I approve.
Okay, I apologize, Councilmember Jurinsky. I didn't know you were on, so thank you. Okay, so we'll go ahead and move those forward. We're going to go ahead with our federal legislative update. We have Lori.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I'm recovering from eye surgery, so I'm rocking an eye patch right now like a pirate, so I'm not going to appear on video because I'm a little embarrassed. So in Congress right now, they returned after a 2-week break for Easter and Passover, and they have been focused on the budget reconciliation package. And as a reminder, this is what they call the big, beautiful bill that is funding the president's priorities. So additional funding for defense, border security and immigration, and also energy streamlining. And then in addition, making permanent Trump's tax cuts of 2017. But to do that, it does require cutting some programs. We're closely watching what happens next week at Energy and Commerce because they oversee healthcare, and there's some safety net programs like Medicaid that have been mentioned that could possibly be cut, as well as SNAP at House Agriculture Committee, and that hearing was moved to next week as well. It was between this week. And then House Ways and Means, which oversees the tax cuts, but also has to cut other programs as well. And one we've been closely following that affects many of the departments for the city is removing the tax exemption status for municipal bonds. And that's something that y'all brought up in all your member meetings a couple weeks ago when y'all were in DC. And I think our members definitely understand the importance of that. There are several Republican House members who've spoken out and do not want to get rid of that tax exemption, which I think is a very good sign. But with a 3-vote majority on the House side, it's a really fine. He's having to thread a very fine needle. You have 90 members of the Freedom Caucus who don't think there are enough cuts, and then you have a group of 50 moderate House Republicans whose seats are very vulnerable right now and don't want to make cuts to programs like Medicaid or SNAP as well. So it's been very interesting to see how this all plays out. Like I said, there was supposed to be 2 hearings this week in Energy and Commerce and Ag, and they must not have come to a resolution because they were pushed off until next week. So closely following that to see how it affects the city's federal priorities. At the same time, Congress is beginning its appropriations process for FY 2026. Liz and the city submitted several congressional directed spending requests to our senators and to Congressman Crow, and many of them have agreed to resubmit what was in last year's pending bill, but got taken away since we did CR. And we have a couple of new ones as well. So we should know what everyone submitted, the final list, by the end of the month of May. The president released his skinny budget request to Congress on Friday. So this was very high level numbers for HUD and DOT and DHS and TSA. There were a number of programs cut or eliminated at HUD, including CDBG. But keep in mind the budget request, regardless who is in power at the administration and in Congress, is a messaging document. It outlines the president's priorities for the upcoming year. So programs like CDBG and Home, which are popular on both sides of the aisle in Congress, I don't see completely being eliminated in the annual appropriation bills that Congress is going to begin considering in the next couple of months. And on the Senate side, it still requires a bipartisan vote to get appropriation bills done, 60 votes. And right now, Republicans are in control of the Senate by a 3-vote margin. So I don't see the drastic cuts that were proposed actually are going to be implemented in the appropriations bill. Meanwhile, over this past week, because the skinny budget was released last week, House and Senate committees are bringing in the heads of federal agencies to testify and outline their budget requests and give the reasoning why they're making cuts. For example, the Department of Homeland Security Secretary was before Homeland Security Committee yesterday and got a lot of criticism for cutting a lot of the TSA programs, for example. But that's just typical what happens. No one's ever completely happy with the president's budget request. So we'll see what Congress actually does with appropriations. And then lastly, the committees are beginning to consider in the Surface Transportation Reauthorization bill. NLC came out with its priorities. Councilmember Lawson, I don't know if you had a chance to see, but I could forward them on to you if you're interested in looking at them. And they submitted them to the committee last Friday.
Yes, I know that attending the meeting a couple weeks ago, because they have frequent meetings, I think we have one coming up. There was, they did submit, there was a presentation on that, but if you could submit that to me so I can just see if they align to what the presentation that we had and what they're doing in terms of submitting letters as well, or their advocacy on that.
Yeah, I'll share their cover letter that they submitted.
Okay.
And they
Okay.
did it in partnership with U.S. Conference of Mayors,
Okay.
National Association of Counties, NACO, NARC, the National Association of Regional Commissions, which, for example, Dr. Cogg's a member of, is a organization for MPOs, as well as NARC.
Yeah, if you could send that over to me, Lori, that would be really great. Thank you
Yes.
so much on that.
I will. And so I'm working with Liz to discuss the city's priorities because I know our senators are beginning to ask us for them.
Okay.
Just a very high level review, so I don't know if you have any questions.
Okay, just a question. What about, is there any status on our grants?
Very
and I
good
know
question.
Okay, yes. Any status on that?
They just released 180 grants just 5 minutes ago. I didn't see anything for us,
Okay.
but that's 180 and there are 3,200 grants on pause right now.
Okay. Okay. Wow, that's a lot of grants on pause for sure.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that. So I'll go to my members. Councilmember Jurinsky, Councilmember Hancock, do you have any questions for Lori or anything that you would like for her to follow up on?
I do. Lori, real quick, we were in DC last week for the Accelerate trip.
Yes.
And I spoke with Congressman Gabe Evans and Congresswoman Lauren Boebert. And Aurora meets all of the criteria to have our funding released. We have made very public that we are not a sanctuary city. We have done away with, the different DEI protocols and policies. So everything that the current administration has put in place to deny funding and freeze federal funding, we actually meet all of those requirements.
Right.
Both congressional representatives said that on individual basis, they have been getting funds overturned. I know we have some public safety grants hanging out in the wind, as well as various other grants. Congresswoman Boebert and Congressman Gabe Evans have both said that if we submit a list of what those grants are, I let Pete and Jason know. I'm waiting on a list. If you know what they are, they both committed to me that they can get in front of this and work towards specifically the grant funding for Aurora and getting it released.
Oh, that's great news. Okay. Yes, I'll coordinate with Liz and with Jason. And Liz, we could walk through some of the stuff with the staff. We remember we met with the chief of staff when the city council was out in town for the mayor.
Yeah, Liz,
They
did
gave
you
a
want to
hand
speak?
up.
Yes. So thank you so much for that, Councilmember Jurinsky. Just to note for the committee members, we have been in touch with our congressional delegation with Congressman Crow and Senator Bennett and Hickenlooper, and reached out to them to reach out to DOT to unlock our Protect grant funding, which is one we're currently waiting on right now. DOT did say that our grant agreement is still under review and they're going to keep us updated. As such, DOT has noted that they are working through a huge backlog of grant agreements and are going to work through them as quickly as possible. So I will still reach out to Congressman Gabe Evans and Congresswoman Lauren Boebert to give them that information as well. But that's kind of the update we have as of Friday.
Right. So 180 released today. Yeah. There's still 30, there are 3,200 in total were. So yeah, they're going through the list. But I agree that especially our DOT grant aligns with this administration's priorities with safety. So yes,
Okay.
thank you for
Well,
sharing that. That was very helpful.
Well, thank you so much for that. And thank you, Councilmember Jurinsky. Is there any other questions from the committee members, Councilmember Hancock?
I also wanted to mention that as we went to the congressional visit where we went with the mayor, also discussed the HUD release of funds for the navigation campus, as we are unique in that we're work first and not housing first. And we were pledged that someone was going to look into it. So I was wondering if we could put a little more pressure on that as well, Liz and team, so that it can stay at top of mind.
Yes, Councilmember Liz, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Councilmember Hancock. We actually have been in contact with Drew, who is a staff member we met with, regarding the navigation center and also the potential federal visit for the opening. So as soon as we hear responses, we will absolutely let everyone know.
Thank you so much, Liz.
Thank you.
Is there any other further questions from my colleagues on the committee regarding the federal state legislative update before we move to the state legislative update?
No.
Okay. Okay, thank you. We're going to go ahead to our state legislative update. We have Peggy, Cammie, and Tatsi. Final day.
Yes, we are on day 119, so we will wrap things up tomorrow before midnight. And we've had about 650 bills introduced this year. There are a number of bills that we took positions on and worked on. It's focusing on housing, municipal court, public safety, a variety of issues out there. There's still some big ticket items that are still working their way through the legislature. Tabor reform is still hanging out there. I don't think that's going to go anywhere this year. The House is working on the Labor Peace Act as we speak. As you've probably read in the paper, there was not a consensus that was reached between the governor's office, who tried to broker a deal with business and labor. So that bill will go through as is. And then likely there will be a lot of pressure on the governor to probably veto the bill from the business community's aspect. Another big bill that did not make its way through this session was the AI reform legislation. As you may recall, last year, the governor passed legislation in that, or the legislature passed legislation in the AI space. Governor, AG, and majority leader all signed a bill that they were going to work on reforms this year. That bill did not make it through. It died yesterday. So still some really big issues that did not go through this year that we will expect to see again next year. And then just in terms of moving into the summer, the legislature did pass a bill that limited interim committees. That was part of the budget saving bills that were introduced in the budget process. And that bill put on the chopping block many of the task force and interim committees that were planning to meet this summer. Instead, they've really kind of honed it down to the permanent interim committees like Transportation Legislative Review Committee, Water Interim Committee. So those will continue to meet during the interim, and they'll start their work in June. So more to come on bills that will be reintroduced next year for sure. But we are planning to get you a final end of session report here in the next week. And happy to answer any questions, or if anything else pops up after you take a look at that report, feel free to shoot us an email and we can get you additional information.
Just before we move on, just a question for you, Peggy. So, and I'm glad that we're going to keep up with the interim committees because sometimes legislation comes out of that. I don't know if who's going to answer this, but in terms of House Bill 1272, which is the construction defect, kind of the market rate, not market rate, but what is it? I don't have the title in front of me, but the
Yeah, the
second
construction defects
and
bill.
middle market
Okay,
housing.
sorry about that. I'm like
Yep.
looking at, so that got signed by the speaker today. Is that correct? The speaker of the House today?
Well, let me look it up. It may have gotten signed by the speaker to get sent to the governor.
Right,
Is
that's
that
what I
what
was
you're
talking
asking?
about. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll definitely, I mean, that bill's been a big priority, so we expect that one will be signed.
Okay, where is juvenile bed cap at right now? I was trying to do some of this work before I got on here, but where's that at right now?
That was
Sure.
passed. I'm sorry.
Oh, go
Peggy,
ahead,
did-
Tati.
No, that's
That
okay.
that passed last night on
Okay.
in the House, and I think it was a concurrence with the Senate amendments.
Okay,
It
great.
was 1146.
1146, okay. And
Yep.
then what about House Bill 23, 1147, the court fairness one? Is that one still
Yeah.
in the,
No, that one has passed the legislature. This is one we've talked about in the past. There's been a big push from municipalities and local government organizations to ask for a veto from the governor on that one.
Mhm.
So there have been a lot of letters that have been sent to the governor asking him to veto that bill.
Okay.
He has, and frankly, this is true of all the bills at this point. Any bill that is passed at this point, he'll have 30 days.
Mhm.
So he'll have till the beginning of June to decide whether he's going to veto sign or just let become law. And that's one of the bills that I know there's a big focus from local government CML to try to get him to veto that one.
And then the vehicle registration, which is congratulations, especially to
Mhm.
Councilmember Hancock and the city staff for working on that. That's a really success. So where's that one at right now?
That
It's
one
waiting to
has
go.
passed and
I'm sorry. Go ahead,
go
Peggy.
ahead. No. That one has passed and we do expect that one to be sent to the governor as well.
Okay, great. Sorry that if I went ahead of Tatsi and Cami, I just had some stuff on my list. I just kind of wanted to go over those bills. So whoever's next, first let me ask my colleagues, do they have any questions for Peggy on her update? Councilmember Jurinsky, Councilmember Hancock.
I don't have any questions on the update. I was anxiously awaiting to talk about this transportation piece that uh, which was the purpose, I thought, of this meeting, was to talk about that. So I'm waiting for that.
Councilmember Hancock, I mean, you guys were gone at a meeting. That's why I had to reschedule this meeting before the session. This is just a regular meeting, and we are going to get to that in a minute. It's 4A if you look at the agenda. So I'm just
Yep,
going
I
through the
see it.
meeting. Okay,
Yes,
Tatsi and Cami.
no worries.
Tatsi and Cami, can you guys go ahead and give your updates, and then we can move forward with the bills that we need to take a position on?
Absolutely. All I was going to say is that all the bills that we've been watching that have passed, that have not yet been signed, are backed up in the enrolling room waiting. They have to be approved, basically, and then they will be going to the governor's office. So that's what the delay is. It's just a huge backup, because everything's getting passed this last week and this week.
Okay, thank you. Cami, do you have any updates as well?
No, thank you.
Okay, well, I thank you all for all you're doing. You have a long couple days, well, day and a half. And so I hope you're getting a lot of caffeine and trying to play up for a vacation maybe after. But thank you for all what you have done. I really do appreciate it. So we're going to go ahead and move. Who's going to present on this? Liz. This is 4A. This is Senate Bill 25-161 amendment. This is the L-.029.
Yes, thank you so much, Councilmember Lawson, and just a really big thank you to the members of the committee for getting back to me so quickly for this emergency position that we all took last Friday, May 2nd. Oh, Peggy, sorry, your hand is up. Please go
Oh,
ahead.
go ahead, Peggy. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
So just to recap really quickly for everyone, Amendment L029 was added in last minute to Senate Bill 25-161, which was the transit reform bill for RTD. The city initially looked at this legislation and decided not to engage. However, with the amendment of L029, this would negatively impact our ability to provide microtransit services, specifically for employment and the services that we provide for our seniors as well. So as staff, we identified this issue, connected with RTD, CML, and other municipalities to see what everyone else was talking about, what advocacy efforts were underway, and how we can join in that effort. So with that, we contacted the members of the committee to do an emergency position on the specific amendment L029 to oppose it and join in efforts with other municipalities as well as CML and RTD to get the amendment removed or rewritten. So thank you guys again so much for that. I am so excited to talk about the outcome of that, which was that we have heard that the amendment is going to be removed in conference committee, and that has been approved by the bill sponsors. So very successful last minute advocacy efforts, but thank you all again for being so available to engage in this with me.
Okay, and just a point of to George, if George could be available. Even we do still need to confirm our position though, because we did take it through a verbal or before this committee. So we do need to affirm that position, right? Which was the position of the city. Is that correct?
That is correct, Councilmember Lawson. So it's done on the record today.
Okay, so this was at that time, Liz, this was an amend position.
This was an opposed position.
Oh, opposed position, I'm sorry. So for my colleagues who took the position, we didn't do it on the record. We're going to do it on the record today. Do you support? We want to confirm those positions. I supported the position of opposed. Councilmember Jurinsky.
I support.
Okay, Councilmember Hancock.
I support as well.
Okay. Liz, thank you so much for confirming the positions, and so we have those on the record. Liz, do you want to further to speak on this issue, or can we move forward?
We can move forward.
Okay, is there any questions from the committee on this?
None.
Okay, so we'll go ahead to our water update. We have Kathy.
Afternoon. Pull up my item here, and I'm just taking advantage of you guys having this special meeting to bring forth one item for you. I've got a federal item recommending for support, and it is Senate Bill 1118 with companion bill House 2344, and it is the Water Intelligence Security and Cyber Threat Protection Act of 2025. And what this bill, well, first I'll give you a little bit of background. There is the Water Information Sharing and Analysis Center, which is just a slightly different acronym for Water ISAC than the Water Intelligence Security and Cyber. It's pretty much the same thing though. And this Water Information Sharing and Analysis Center, it was established back in 2002, and it is done in coordination between the water and the wastewater national organizations, along with the US EPA. And back in 2002, it was authorized by Congress in the Bioterrorism Act. So it's been around for a while, and it is one of those things that is working well. Water ISAC is the designated information sharing and operations arm of the Water Sector Coordinating Council. And Water ISAC, EPA, and the Cyber Security and Infrastructure Security Agency, they all coordinate and they provide cybersecurity planning and preparedness resources to the water sector. And that coordination information, like I said, is working well, and it's providing useful information that just could not be done individually. The bill will enhance Water ISAC's tools and resources for monitoring the water sector and increasing the preparedness of community water systems and publicly owned water treatment works to identify and respond to malicious acts as well as natural hazards. The cybersecurity threats, they are increasing in number and sophistication across the nation. And so Aurora Water However, like so many others, they utilize the information from Water ISAC and from my coworkers in a water operational technology perspective. This bill is recommended for support. The water sector national organizations such as the Association of Metropolitan Water Agencies and American Water Works Association, they also strongly support this bill. So with that, I'll take any questions.
Well, thank you, Kathy. That was a lot in that bill, and you did a very good job in summarizing it. So from my colleagues, do you support the city position of support on this bill? I support. Councilmember Jurinsky.
I support.
Councilmember Hancock.
I support as well.
Okay. Kathy, is there any other updates you want to provide us before we move forward?
No, if there's no other questions, that's all I have today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we're going to go to state last minute bills. Is there any state last minute bills? We only have a day and a half, so is there anything from the committee that you would like to be looked into or brought up?
Nothing from me.
Okay, what about federal?
Nothing from me.
Okay, so we have miscellaneous matters for consideration. Anyone who is on this Zoom, is there any miscellaneous matters that you want to bring to the attention of the committee? Okay, I hear nothing. Our next meeting will be virtual. It'll be May 23rd at 11 a.m. And then after that, we will discuss with the committee about going monthly. So everyone, thank you so much for making time for this special meeting today. We didn't have it last week because we had members out, but I do appreciate everyone's time. And I hope everyone has a great day and rest of the week. And whoever's at the legislative session, good luck. And thank you for all you're doing there as well. So have a great day, everybody.
Well done. Thank you
Have a
very
good
much.
day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Great day.